Hey guys, got a little bit of a different type video for you today. It's going to be a little bit of a blend of the how-to and the day on the water. We didn't really set it up to be on day on the water. We just went out for a couple hours. We're trying to get some fish catches for the how-to part of the video, and we ended up catching several different species of fish. And there's a lot of good information, and we were able to explain how we were catching them, where we were, and we were looking at all that stuff. So we're going to blend them both together. It's going to go in the how-to segment because it's definitely a full breakdown on a certain technique. Wanted to kind of set you guys up and let you know, I've got a guest with me on this video. His name is Andrew Grills. He is a really good friend of mine. He's also a guide on Lake Fork as well. And I'll link his website. You guys definitely need to check it out. This guy, when it comes to offshore, deep water, structure fishing, using your electronics, he's just one of the most knowledgeable people in the world. He does that almost exclusively throughout the year, and he's just as good as it gets at that type of fishing. And so that's why I brought him. This technique is an offshore driven technique. I know the content that he added to the video is going to be really helpful to you guys. It's going to help y'all going forward. I learned stuff today, so you know, he's just got a lot of knowledge. So I appreciate him coming along. Check him out. Hope y'all enjoy the video. It's got a lot of content. There is a very big fish at the end of it, so stay tuned for that. And appreciate y'all watching.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Alright guys, welcome back to Your Lake Fork Guide. We got another how-to today. We're going to talk about what is one of the best just pure bite getters out there, especially right now in the fall of the year. Get out right now and do this tactic. It will get you bites, there's no doubt. As you'll see on this video a little bit later, it'll catch all species of fish, and in the fall these fish really kind of mix together on some of these offshore structure spots, these high spots, points, row beds, humps. Anywhere that comes to a high spot levels out 15, 20, 25 feet, somewhere in there, just use your electronics, and when you see a big group of fish, you throw these spoons in there and you'll get some bites. I brought a very good friend of mine. He's also a fellow Lake Fork guide. He's got a little bit more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do, and he's going to help me out on explaining this technique. It's something that I do, but he's done it a lot more than I have, so he's going to help me out today. And these spoons, they're real good fish identifiers. So if you're seeing someone on your graph, it'll help you get better on your electronics because you'll see them set up a certain way, throw the spoon in there, and then you'll find out what species it is. And a lot of times this time of year, you'll have several different species right next to each other, so you can learn really fast. What do you think, Andrew?
If I'm not sure, if there's so much going on, I'm like, well, are those white bass, or those largemouth, what is it? That spoon will tell you right away because it'll catch just about every species, and there's some days it catches bass better than anything else you got in the box.
Yeah, people would be amazed how big a fish will eat that little bitty spoon, right?
Absolutely.
So to kind of show you what we're talking about, this one is a War Eagle brand. You can buy them anywhere. I think Walmart sells them, right?
Yeah.
So you can get these anywhere. And it's just a little jigging spoon. And you guys have all seen these old slab spoons hanging on the wall. And I'm sure, you know, Cotton Cordell makes a good jigging spoon. And that's probably the most popular brand, but this one right here is a War Eagle. I know you use the same. You like those War Eagle spoons too.
Yeah, I've also got a spoon that I like to use called a K2 spoon.
Okay.
Let's get you a shot of it. It's just a real popular spoon on Lake Fork. I've had customers catch fish over 9 pounds on this spoon.
Yeah.
None over 10 yet, but big fish will still bite this little small
Amazing.
spoon.
It's incredible. You know, we always think bigger bait, bigger fish. Not always the case, especially this time of year when they all blend together. I know you've got one more that you like to use. It's kind of new to me. You just showed it to me here recently. Why don't you tell them about that one right there?
Yeah, this is a War Eagle. This color is a clown colored, or it may be called coleslaw. It's got chartreuse, orange, white. I like a spoon that's got a color pattern like this on cloudy days. This spoon will outperform a silver or a gold spoon if you've got cloud cover.
What about if that water's stained a little bit? You like it then too? If the water's a little bit more off color?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It shows up really well, and It's something they don't see every
A little different. It's a little bit bigger profile, a little bit heavier spoon, right?
Right. This
How
is
big's
a
that
1 ounce. This is a 1 ounce. The others we use most of the time are about a half an
Yeah,
ounce.
it's half ounce. Yeah, that's right. And for me, you know, I think we're kind of similar on rod and reel and line, especially on this half-ounce spoon. I'm going to go with the 7-foot medium heavy, something that's got some tip to it, where I'm not just going to yank that spoon away from that fish right away. I'm also going to use 15-pound line, and that's not about clear water or anything. It's about the action on the spoon. I don't want to overpower the spoon with the line size.
Exactly.
Same way.
Yeah, there's some days where even going down to 12-pound test
Yeah.
will get you a lot more bites.
Sure.
15's as high as I'll go on one of those small spoons.
That kind of covers it for, you know, how we set up and the gear that we use on the jigging spoon. You know, we are at Lake Fork, and there's another spoon out there, big flutter spoons, and that was invented right here on Lake Fork by a man named Joe Spates. And I think, ironically, neither one of us have a Joe Spates spoon tied on today, but Joe Spates, he's the original flutter spoon maker, and he did a great job with it. I mean, his spoon's really good, and I know I use it a lot, I know you do as well.
Yeah.
Today, the one I've got tied on is kind of an interesting one. It's a newer take on the traditional flutter spoon here. We know Mark. He's another Mark Pack from Impact Lures, another guide out here on Lake Fork, really knowledgeable offshore fisherman. And this is his spoon. It's kind of a little, you know, shad or barfish pattern that we got there. But Mark patented this little plastic weed guard on the back called a structure guard. So I kind of use that out here because we got so much cover, you know. So I tend to use that a lot if I'm in an area that's got a lot of trees or timber, a lot of brush piles. If I'm in a spot like that, I'm going to use that structure guard spoon.
Yeah, a lot of times, Billy, you find them suspended in the trees or in the tops of brush piles.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can get to those fish.
Yeah, you'll hang up every
except
time.
that impact spoon and get to them, and
Yep.
it'll work pretty good.
Yeah, it's a little different take on it. You can put it in some areas you can't the other spoons, so it's really, really good in those situations. Why don't you show them a little bit about the one that you've been throwing here lately?
Yeah, I'll throw a bigger flutter spoon, Billy, when I'm seeing fish are a little more active. Today, you know, we deal with tough conditions most of the time, and you know, they only bite 10% of the time. That's what Bill Dance said. But you know, when the fish are biting, when I know they're biting, this is the way to go. You throw that bigger flutter spoon. It's going to catch you a 4-pound average. Bigger fish bite it. You don't catch many small fish on it.
You are going to eliminate the multi-species deal a lot on that flutter spoon.
Yeah.
You're right. The conditions we've had lately seems like, you know, every 2 out of 3 days is bluebird skies and very little wind. If anything, it's out of the east, which we all know is the worst.
Right.
But the other day, you know, every once in a while that flutter spoon still pays off. The other day, you got a guy that popped a really big one.
Yeah.
On a flutter spoon.
Yeah, we had one almost 11 pounds on a flutter spoon last week, and that's the way it goes.
He said 11 pounds. Just make sure you heard that. Told you.
Yeah, that doesn't happen every day, and it was just kind of when you do catch big fish like that, there's a lot of luck involved.
Right.
But you know, we'd caught a lot of smaller fish that day, and this fella was really interested in seeing, you know, what this lake's got to offer, and he was okay with not catching another fish, so he threw that bigger spoon and he caught a big one.
Well, that's what it takes a lot of times for those really trophy class fish. You know, we talk about that, and man, it's a lot of fun. You know, you can get your wife and kids out here with these jigging spoons and just bites every 5 minutes, if not more often, and that's great. But every once in a while, a guy just wants to catch the biggest fish in the pond.
Right.
And when you do some of those big baits, like those big 4 or 5 inch, even bigger sometimes flutter spoons, that's a great tool in the pond.
Yeah, and don't forget about the small one. I mean, shoot and catch big fish too. It's just
even
it's
the
a
3
fun
inch
deal.
small.
You get a lot of bites. You catch a lot of fish.
It is. It's a bite getter. You're fishing in areas that have just tons of life in them. That kind of wraps up how, you know, as far as our gear and what we use on our different spoons. So we're going to get up and show you guys some techniques and some retrieves that we use on these spoons. Okay, so we're going to talk about our retrieves for the jigging spoon first. This is that little 1/2 ounce War Eagle spoon that we were talking about. That's the main one I use. So a couple different retrieves. When you're on especially when you're on like a bald spot, a long point with a flat spot with no cover on it, or sparse cover, I'll actually cast that spoon. So I'm going to make a good long cast. And another bonus about this spoon is you can chunk it a mile no matter your setup, and it helps you cover a lot of water out deep. You know, people think of offshore structure fishing as fishing one spot. It's not always the case. Sometimes you got to explore around, and this, when you need to find them, it's a great search tool. So what I'll do, I'm going to cast it out there. As soon as it hits the water, I'm going to strip a little bit of line. I always want that spoon to be falling on slack line. It's going to give it a lot better action Whereas if you have your line tight, it's not going to have the flutter and the kick that it normally would have. Once it's on the bottom, I'm simply going to leave a little bit of slack in my line and pop it. I just want to leave just a little bit of bow in that line and give it a good hard pop. Snap that line. It's kind of like cracking that whip. Not quite as hard as a hook set, but just pop that jig. And that's what you're going to do. You'll stroke that all the way back to the boat. And what will happen is you'll pop it up off the bottom and they'll catch it in the air as it's falling back down, and you'll go do it again and you'll be setting the hook on that fish. And with these little light wire treble hooks on this jigging spoon, it's plenty of hook set. If you can bear a little more pressure on them as they're coming in, you have an opportunity to dig that hook in a little bit, go ahead and do it. But really, most of the time, that initial pop with that little bitty hook is going to stick it in there plenty good. Don't try to horse those fish on this thing. It's got such a small hook. If you try to horse them, you're going to yank that hook out of their mouth. Okay, so for the other retrieve, it's not even really a retrieve. I'll actually use these front electronics in this situation. And when I can position the front of my boat directly over a school of fish, I'll simply drop the spoon directly down, and all I'll do is loosen the bail and start stripping line. And I want to get that spoon down there as fast as I possibly can. So once that spoon's all the way on the bottom, okay, she's on the bottom. So I'll get it down there, and all I'm going to do is just raise it up and let it fall. Raise it up and let it fall. Now, in another situation you can use this retrieve is if those fish are suspended, say they're in 30 foot of water, but they're sitting in 15, you can actually count your footage out. You know, just estimate a foot and count 15 pulls on the line and know that you're right there where those fish are and jig it right above their head. And that's one of the best ways to catch a suspended fish in the fall too. Usually they don't suspend that much in the fall, but if they do, that's a great tool to get them. That's about it on retrieves for the jigging spoon. And I'm going to turn it over to our big fish expert, Andrew, for the big fish bait flutter spoon. He's got a lot more time doing this than I do, so we're going to let him explain the flutter spoon to you.
Alright guys, when I'm fishing a flutter spoon, it's because I've seen fish on my graph. I've seen bass on the graph, they're bigger fish, and they're not on the bottom. When I see them on the bottom, there's other ways to catch them, but when you see them stacked up 3-4 feet off the bottom, sometimes 5 or 6 feet, you can still get this spoon up to those fish. I have one basic retrieve that I use all the time. It's the only way that I fish it. I find a lot of folks have trouble getting confidence in a certain retrieve throwing a flutter spoon. And it's really simple. Don't overthink it. If those fish are there and they're biting, they're going to eat it. It's not rocket science. You don't have to overthink it. The main thing to remember is they bite a flutter spoon when it's falling. So my standard retrieve is going to be cast out. Keep in mind this thing's going to fall pretty slow. So I want to let it fall on completely slack line. So right now it's still falling. I'm in about 20 feet of water. I'm watching my slack. I got my spool open. I'm watching it fall. Once it hits the bottom, I'm going to start a reel, and then follow my slack down. So we're on the bottom right now. I'm going to reel, raise my rod as I do it, and then follow the slack as the spoon's falling back down to the bottom. You want to make sure it's falling on slack line, because a flutter spoon will actually back up when it's on slack line. So if you've got a fish that's watched that thing fall, hits the bottom, you bring it up, that fish is following it. This spoon's going to go back towards that fish if you've got it dropping on completely slack line. So we'll just continue that retrieve, reel, let it fall, and follow it down. Now, if the fish are 2 or 3 feet off the bottom, a couple cranks is going to do it. Every crank is going to bring in about 24 inches of line on a standard bait cast reel. If they're 6 feet off the bottom, 3 cranks will get it right in their face. One thing about a spoon is those fish will throw it. It's a heavy bait. It's a big old piece of metal. When they get on that spoon, you want to get down. You want to get that fish's mouth full of water. You want to take control of that fish. Bring him in from the side. Don't bring him up to the sky, because that fish is going to want to jump. That's what he wants to do. The line's going to come straight up. So get down, get that fish's mouth full of water. Take control of him. Horse him on in. And speaking of horsing, 15-pound line, yeah, it's kind of hard to do that, but usually we're in open water. There's not anything to hang up on when we're fishing a spoon, so don't be afraid to put the heat to it. That covers how I fish a flutter spoon. I like to throw them on a medium heavy type rod, 7 feet, 15-pound fluorocarbon. Medium speed reel, high speed's okay, medium speed's better.
Yeah, something real small.
Oh, hey, I got something. Just a little bigger than real small.
A little bigger than real small? Not much, huh? So I was throwing out there, I was jigging that spoon, and my spoon fell, and I thought I had a little barfish, a little bait fish of some kind. Andrew's got something here, I don't know what it is yet.
It's doing the circle, so it's gonna be a white bass.
Or a white bass. Oh, he's foul hooked. Got him in the back. It's Sandy. There you go. You saw it, guys. That was our first cast on this spot, so there's a lot of fish down there.
Draft don't lie.
No, them electronics do not tell a story. That's more than more fish right there. No. Oh, Andrew, catching catfish. Alright, so we just pulled in here to our second spot, found some fish on the graph like we like to see them, sitting right on the high spot. And Andrew threw out there before I even had my rod in the water. And I don't think he even really knew what he had. He wasn't even really fighting or anything. It was just a little baby catfish that wasn't really pulling. So, but I just go to show you these spoons. I mean, these fish are so key in chasing this bait this year. All species are in there, and they're constantly eating right now in the fall.
Oh, got you a crappie.
We're catching them all, man. Sand bass, catfish, you know, bass, whatever. It's a lot of fun, though.
Oh yeah.
Got all these fish schooled up out here, and all like we've been talking about, all those different types of fish, different sizes, all just blended together. That's a dandy crappie right there.
Fight, fight.
I'm gonna tell you what, if we can catch a bunch more, he'd go in the live well, but I don't know if we're gonna catch anymore, so I'm gonna let him go.
Is that another crappie? I thought that was a bass. Got a little crappie on the spoon. It'll catch anything that swims. It's the second crappie today. That's unusual.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Alright, so we just pulled up back on that first spot that we were at. I'm going to show you guys a graph shot real quick. This is what we're looking at. You can kind of see right there, those are the bass that we're looking at right there on the bottom. And then you see all the little fish around them and all the bait fish around them. But that right there in the center, all bunched up, that's what we're fishing for. And then you guys can see all the life around. And you can see right there on down scan how they're just stacked up right on the bottom and right on top of the high spot of this point. That's what we're looking for when we graph these spots, and these look really good right now. So we're fixing to fish for them for a while, and hopefully we can show you guys something here in just a second. Oh, hey, hey. What you got, Drew? Here. There you go, bud. Get there. Go. That's a good one.
well, we got our first fish of the day. First bass of the day, anyway. Got them on this slab spoon. This is a 1 ounce spoon. It's a coleslaw color, clown kind of color. And it works really well for big fish out here in the fall. A lot of folks don't think about this as a kind of a bass technique, but it works really good for big fish out here in the fall when some of those fish get keyed in on threadfin shad and some smaller bait fish. Just let him go.
Alright guys, that does it for our fall spooning how-to video. Like we said, great way to get a lot of bites, great way to get big bites on the big spoon. It's just an awesome time to fish. There's no better time than November, and even in December, January going forward. You know, it's a good cold water as the water cools off. Those fish bunch up out deep. It's a great way to go about getting bites. Yeah. So, hope y'all learned something. Hope y'all enjoyed watching the video. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for me. And we appreciate y'all watching. Better get that screen for you, dog. Oh man, tangled up.
That's tiny.